Hey folks, this is Kalani. It looks like we'll be getting quite a lot of content in patch 8.2, split amongst the two new zones, Nazjatar and Mechagon. These two zones are going to work, play, and feel very different from each other. Nazjatar is the main story zone, that's where we'll follow the major plot points that lead up to the next raiding adventure, whereas Mechagon is more of a on-the-side experience, where you want to head over a few times a day to take advantage of the ever-changing activities. Nazjatar isn't available just yet, but I've had a few days to play around with Mechagon, so I've got a pretty decent grasp of what there is to do. So let's break it all down and see exactly what makes Mechagon tick. So first off, what is Mechagon? It's an island somewhere off the shore that has apparently gone unnoticed until now, hidden away by some mysterious techno-magic, or just the incompetence of the Kulturas Navy, because I mean come on, it's right there. How did nobody notice it until now? But anyway, to find Mechagon we'll need some coordinates. There's a small intro quest which introduces King Mechagon and sets up the story for why we're here, what we can gain from Mechagon, and why King Mechagon isn't the nicest fellow in the world. The island itself consists of 7-ish main areas. Rustbolt is the main questing hub. That's where you can find the Rustbolt Rebellion, the faction we'll be helping and gaining reputation with throughout our adventures on Mechagon. You can find the usual vendors, quest givers, faction camps, and the dungeon entrance for Operation Mechagon, the new mega dungeon coming sometime soon. There's another major camp here, but it seems like more of a neutral operation where all they care about is surviving and who's got the most money. That's Bondo's Yard. You can find a few useful items here, like new blueprints, a charging station, the Mechanocat painting area, a scrapping thing, and a few rare mobs as well. The chap who runs the place isn't all too friendly, but if you don't start any trouble, you'll stay safe enough. They also have a racetrack here, though I can't see any way to actually race anything or anyone properly. Hopefully that becomes a thing later on. The other areas of the map are all about monsters. The Junkwort Depot is possibly the only real dangerous area of the map because all of the monsters here are elites by default. They hit pretty hard and take quite a beating before they go down, but if you gather up a handful of people you can still AoE grind this place into the dust, so it's not too bad. You can trigger a weather event over here to make it start raining, which is pretty cool because all of the elite robots start rusting and become non-elites for the duration, so that's a nice little touch. Then we also have the Outflow, where a nasty runoff from Mechagon City collects. That's full of elemental mobs. Sparkweaver Point is overrun with mechanical spiders that are somehow laying eggs, so if you love creepy crawlies, well, there you go. The Scrapbone Den is a nesting area for the local trogs, who just steal anything they can get their hands on, and try to make use of it, usually in the wrong ways. And way over on the left we have the Western Spray, a little outcrop of islands with murlocs, sirens, robots and pirates. I think quite a few things might be hidden in the water around here too. Overall, the island isn't all that big. You can run from one side to the other in a few minutes, and quite a few quests will have you running back and forth, but there is quite a bit for you to do or take part in on Mechagon. Apparently Mechagon will also have more secrets than any other area of the game, so it might not seem like you have much to do on the surface when you initially get there, but if you do a bit of digging, you're sure to find a treasure trove of activities to keep you busy. One of the largest pieces of Mechagon is the spare parts system. This is tied to pretty much every activity. It's like a new currency. Everything meaningful on Mechagon will involve spare parts to some extent, whether you're buying some special items, helping rebuild large projects, setting up a flame turret or repairing a drilling rig. It's all going to involve parts. There's a few different parts available at the moment with different rarities. The most common of these items is called spare parts. They're the most basic part and you can find them from practically everywhere. Most mobs on the island will drop a handful of spare parts guaranteed, so they're easy to come by, which is good because they're used in everything as well. Then we also have energy cells. These are a lot rarer, but come from the same kinds of places. They can drop from mobs, or you can find them in chests. You can even find them lying on the ground, but again, they're going to be rare. You can also find empty energy cells. These are a bit more common, but obviously with them being empty, they aren't much use until you can charge them back up. That can only be done in one way right now, at a charging station. That's not always available though, we'll touch on that a bit more in a minute. Then we have two different epic components, the galvanic oscillator and the chain igniter coils. These come from mobs, rares and chests as a very rare drop, but they also come from the world quest on Mechagon. Notice I said world quest, not world quests. As opposed to Nazjatar, which is supposed to be filled with world quests, right now on the PTR there's only one world quest each day for Mechagon, and it rewards you one epic component, so that's definitely going to be worth knocking out every day. You can also buy the chain igniter coils for 35k gold right now, so that might help you skip a good chunk of grinding if you have the gold to spare and you really need those igniter coils. So there's quite a few things to collect, but what is this stuff going to be used for? Blueprints are going to soak up a lot of your parts, because they're typically quite important. A large portion of Mechagon's progression is tied to Pascal King, a robot who can create anything. Providing he has the appropriate blueprints at any rate. These blueprints come from a variety of sources and you're introduced to 3 or 4 of them very quickly. We buy some from a vendor, one is lying around on the ground, others come from rares, achievements, chests, they're everywhere. Some will no doubt come from the dungeon too. Here's a little list of what they have on the PTR right now for one of the achievements you need for the Mechagon Meta achievement. That's a lot of blueprints and some of them don't even have a name yet, so it looks like they're still working on this system and figuring out what they can build. Blueprints allow you to craft little gadgets to help you while you're questing. There's gear catch-up stuff in there too, which allow you to craft trinkets and rings. You can craft items which can be used to summon rare monsters, other items which let you kill special rare monsters, create new areas of Rustbolt, open up new vendors and relaxation options, and the Mechanocat mount comes from blueprints as well. Building up your blueprint menu and collecting enough parts to create your shiny new stuff seems to be half of what Mechagon is all about. If collecting blueprints wasn't enough for you, there's plenty of mounts scattered around Mechagon for you to race after as well. Some of them are tied to blueprints, as I previously mentioned, but others come from achievements, the dungeon, and just general questing. One of the first things that you do in Mechagon is start up a series of quests which lead directly into obtaining one of the new Mechano Spider mounts. So that's really cool that we don't have to run loops around the island endlessly to get our hands on some of the collectibles here. The Mechanocat mount is a very special mount too, because not only do you have to build it yourself by finding the blueprint and then collecting the parts, but you can paint it a variety of colours too. You can collect new paint colours from the same places as everything else, some randomly drop from mobs, others drop from rares, some from chests, and I'm sure 1 or 2 will be in the dungeon. There's a little Pimp My Cat paint shop in Bondo's Yard where you can turn these paints in and have your Mechanocat painted any colour that you've unlocked. I think they look pretty cool. I'm excited to collect a few more colours to see how they look on my shiny new mount. I managed to pick up the Mechanocat mount in maybe 4 days worth of work. It's not too bad, you should be able to pick it up fairly quickly. The paints on the other hand might take you a bit longer. You can also paint yourself if that's more your kind of thing, just stand in the paint streams to get a colourful makeover in green, orange or blue. Another interesting use of the parts you collect is contributing to large construction projects. Right now it looks like only 2 of these are active each day and they provide very different bonuses. We've been able to preview 5 different ones so far, and this achievement here, the Junkyard Machinist, only lists 5, but there's another achievement which has space for a few others, so we might see a few more later on in the testing cycle. The ones I've tested so far include the flame turrets, the drill rigs, the charging station, the launch pads, and the reclamation station. To see which projects are available in any given day, you can talk to an NPC in Rustbolt who will tell you which 2 are currently active. The flame turrets are scattered around the island and you can build them fairly quickly and cheaply. They're supposed to help you kill stuff by spouting large flames all over your enemies, but they kind of just tickle things right now. Hopefully they get buffed up to be deadly both to your enemies and to yourself, so you have to watch out when the flames start flowing. But right now they're not really worth anything because they just don't deal any damage. It's a nice idea, but they really need a good buff. The drill rigs are kind of cool. They can be found near caved in areas. After you build them up, they'll start digging through whatever is blocking your way into special little caves. During the excavation, mobs will aggro in waves, which you'll have to fend off if you want to keep your drill safe, and then when it finally breaks through, you'll have some more monsters inside, as well as a special surprise. That surprise is usually a rare mob, but who knows what else will be hiding locked away in those caves. The charging station might be one of the most important construction projects. It's currently the only way you can charge your empty energy cells, but I think we will find a few other ways as we progress the story and unlock some more goodies in Mechagon. Some units and mobs out in the world do specifically say they're leaking energy, and the right tool might be able to extract it. But for now, the charging station is the best thing we've got, and it also lets you charge up all of your empty cells very quickly. So you want to hold on to every empty cell you come across and keep checking back each day so you don't miss the charging station. You have to pay a fee in parts to be able to use the station for 30 minutes or so, but you can charge everything up in that time quite easily. I went from 2 energy cells to 30 plus energy cells the day this came up, so you don't want to miss this one for sure. The launch pads are pretty cool, and I'm honestly surprised they added something like this into Mechagon so early. It feels like the dev team doesn't want you to fly most of the time, especially before flying is unlocked, but the launch pads allow you to fly freely for 3 minutes at a time. This was amazing for finding rares or chests. You just needed to get to another launch pad after finding one because I couldn't interact with stuff while flying, so you have to get off your jetpack to use the chest that you found and then go find something else. But that's the price you had to pay, I guess. Launch pads were scattered around the island pretty evenly, so the days where this are up, I imagine everyone and their mothers will be taking to the skies. It's also a nice little addition for those players who might not feel like grinding out the flying unlock right away. At least you can still fly every now and then. The reclamation station is a bit of a strange one. Down at the outflow there's a big mining rig thing which you can build up whenever it's active. Building the station will start an event where waves of monsters try to destroy the station and you have to protect it. The event itself was pretty easy and you're rewarded with a box of parts, so that's a nice little prize, but the station didn't seem to do anything after that. It didn't go back into a state where we could rebuild it and it sort of just sat there. Hopefully it doesn't have a crazy long cooldown because that would mean people who wouldn't be able to hop in and build it themselves unless they made it during the super tiny window where you can contribute to it. We'll see how this construction evolves as testing continues though. You can also find daily quests from a variety of quest givers in Rust Bolt, and these quest givers will rotate every day. You might see the theme by now. Most of this stuff is on a per day basis, so instead of spending 6 hours a day every day on Mechagon, chances are you'll most likely be hopping over here for an hour or two, and then coming back the next day to see what's changed and what new goodies are available. So the quest givers will rotate each day, and what I found really cool about these quests was that they send you to a certain place on Mechagon, and when you get over there, there's usually a few other quests you can pick up and complete. So it's not just 3 daily quests, it's more like 7 or 8, but 3 main ones with a few extras you can decide to ignore if you want to, or you can do a little bit more. One of the daily quests even sends you to an alternate reality where King Mechagon was victorious, and everything and everyone has been turned into a machine. We head on over there to see how it happened to try and prevent it from happening to our reality. It was a fun little side quest which made good use of the various areas of the map. If you fancy sticking around on Mechagon for a bit longer than the daily activities require, you can happily do so. No one's forcing you to stop collecting parts and scrap if that's what you really want to do. There's a lot of rares to hunt down on Mechagon which all have valuable loot for you, including parts, blueprints, paint colours, you name it. It's probably going to be useful some way somehow. You can even force certain rares to spawn if you collect the right items, or build them from blueprints you already acquired, and there's a handful which require a little puzzle to solve. There's apparently quite a few secret rares too, so finding out how to make those spawn should be a lot of fun. Similar to rares, there's also plenty of chests for you to hunt for. I found several chests in places I didn't think I was supposed to be able to get to, so they're definitely squirreling them away in every corner they can find. I was happily trying to get up the side of a mountain, haha, nothing's going to be up here, I shouldn't be able to get up here, only to find a rare, a chest, and a lot of mobs on the way up. I honestly didn't think I was going to find anything, but they're making sure each area has something to do. So there's plenty of things to keep you busy on Mechagon, and most of it isn't going to have any time gating from what we've been told. You should be able to do this at your own pace, and if you want to go grind elite machines for 6 hours a day, well, you do you. No one's going to stop you. You'll probably see something cool from all the effort you put in too. But you can also take things slow and just come back each day to see what's new, knock out the daily quests, take a peek at the new construction projects, kill a few rares and come back the next day. I think this zone will reward checking in daily quite a bit more than just endlessly grinding your face off, which should be nice for a lot of players who only have an hour or two to play each day. That's without getting into any of the story content on Mechagon 2. We're going to have to build up Rustbolt and the Rustbolt Rebellion so we can eventually take the fight to King Mechagon and storm his little palace dungeon thing. I'm really looking forward to it because from everything I've seen of Mechagon so far, it's going to be a great zone where I'll be spending a lot of my free time, even if it's supposed to be the side zone to Nazjatar. I also can't wait for Nazjatar to become active on the PTR because that promises to be a lot of fun too. It's going to be fun comparing the two and seeing how the different styles work in different ways. I wonder what people are going to prefer. What do you think of Mechagon from what you've seen so far? What construction projects or blueprints would you like to see introduced into this zone? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below this video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.